Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Wherever you find yourself in this weird, wild, wacky world we're in. This is another scene for Darkness in Dublin, the Mage venue. This evening's scene brings us back to the Mage Bar, the gathering place, the Green Dragon. Where Cassidy, one of our local verbena, is sitting and sipping on a glass of lemon and lavender-infused water. It is, as it has been lately, rather hot in Dublin. Though that seems to be a universal thing as of late. And I will let you two do your own intros.
Well, for part of the newcomer, the sound of laughter comes from one of the far ends of the bar as a young to middle-aged woman sits at a booth surrounded by about three or four other individuals. Um, Currently smoking from we'll just go ahead and say just a normal, for what looks to be like a rolled cigarette. A woman with a thick mane of red hair that kind of curls tightly and hangs down past her shoulders is currently entertaining a few people, or at least is going through the motions of sort of adding and perhaps bolstering a very comical sort of tale of some sorts before getting up and making her way over to the bar, still kind of chuckling to herself as she makes her way towards Cassidy's general direction, wearing sort of long slacks, looks like business attire, with a red shirt and looks to be like a kind of like a ribbon that sort of half makes a tie, and looks like she's wearing yeah. Well, she doesn't have her overcoat on because it's way too hot. Her sleeves are rolled up. She's got all sorts of little trinkets hanging from each wrist, as far as what look to be like charm bracelets. And as she makes her way up to the bar, she'll spy Cassidy and smirk as she has the cigarette between her lips, and then turns to the bartender and asks for a gin and tonic on the rocks. We'll say.
Cassidy, for her part,
And
is wearing a floor-length skirt, a pair of flip-flops, and a long-sleeve shirt. It's loose and flowy, but it is long-sleeved. And her hair is down and loose, as it generally is. She does not have the woad on today, as it's not a ritual day, so...
Damien, at this point, emerges from the gentleman's bathrooms. He himself is wearing a camo-colored pair of wider cargo shorts. He's wearing a red t-shirt. He himself is a man of more of a Nordic complexion with blonde hair, blue eyes, and almost fiery red beard and mustache. Apart from that, he's wearing some black leather sandals. He's got his trusty leather satchel slung around him. He looks a bit refreshed, and even the odd drop of water reflected in the light, showing that he spread it across his arms, maybe to try and cool himself down. He walks towards the bar and orders himself a quarter of bread and also a nice ale, and starts dunking pieces of bread that he has ripped out in the ale and eating it.
Also, sitting next to Cassidy's feet, all curled up, is this. And it looks every bit as cute as it does in the photo.
Well, upon seeing a familiar, because she's going to assume that that's a friggin' familiar, she chooses not to really go too much in the way of sort of like calling it out or acting like that's the weird thing in the room. But she's rather going to kind of gesture at Cassidy's attire. You know, even considering what I'm wearing, when I look at you, I begin to sweat because I gotta imagine, as free flowing as that might be, it seems like it's gotta be awful hot in this kind of heat.
Cassidy kind of takes in a sharp breath and just kind of focuses on her water and orders a veggie burger and some french fries before turning to the new person, whose name she does not know. The way I dress is no concern of anybody else's.
I didn't say it was. Just, I mean, is that comfortable? Asking one person to another in this kind of weather, or is that more of a style of a function kind of deal?
I'm perfectly comfortable. I'd rather be wearing this than short sleeves anyway.
Damien slightly
Each their
chokes on a
own.
piece of bread and coughs, but then he's fine again. Pardon me.
She'll take a look over in his general direction and see what he's wearing, and then kind of laugh to herself as she takes a sip out of her drink. Looks like only one person in this general vicinity seems to be remotely dressed for the weather. But I'd have to say, as far as who's pulling off the best look in the house, that's a toss up. I kind of like what I'm wearing, but what I'm seeing, not too shabby. And she'll offer out a hand to Cassidy. Hannah Schlesinger.
Cassidy Lawson.
Cassidy Lawson. And she'll sit back, pull a bar stool out so she can sit on it, sort of prop herself up into it. She'll look over at Damien.
Damien seems to be ignoring her, very much engrossed in his ale and bread concoction that he's eating.
Don't worry too much about Damien. He gets distracted rather easily.
Nah, I just don't like people I haven't met suddenly making judgments about me. That's all.
You know I'm only poking fun.
Wasn't
You're
really
fine.
more, but
You're breaking up pretty
and
bad, Jenny dear.
I catch that just more of a comment, but you know, to each their own there.
Damien turns his head around, looks at her. Fair enough. Damian Wolf, at your service. And he offers a hand.
Offering a smirk. Hannah, like I said before, considering that you all are inside these four walls, I would assume that each of you are of a craft of some kind.
Verbena.
Orphan, craft worker.
All right. So we got one on the independent market. We got someone who works closely enough with Mother Nature that Mother Nature smiles back at her. And he got me the old stick in the mud, Chakravanti. Or Thanatos, depending on however you want to pronounce it.
Damien's expression changes at the mention of Euthanatos, and suddenly he seems very interested in her. Huh, interesting. I haven't come across any Euthanatos yet.
Now I make your smirk. Maybe from now on, I should lead with, "Hey, I'm a death mage, by the way," or at least a mage of a death-like tradition.
I haven't got enough knowledge about the Euthanatos to make a proper judgment. Mind you, if you'd be more than happy to enlighten me on the subject, I'd be very interested.
Well, never leave it to me to deny someone the basic concepts of anything that I do. To put it in a very simplified term, there is a cycle, there is a wheel. We are all part of that wheel: life, death, rebirth, and
Samsara.
it's a cyclic existence kind of thing. And we of the Chakravanti, we protect that wheel. Anything that disrupts that cycle, well, try and find ways to counteract it. We kind of get the bad rap of being assassins and necromancers and the like, but I assure you, most of it, not all of it, but most of it is unwarranted, especially in this more modern and understanding era.
Interesting. Against what kinds of disturbances would you say are the most common you have to deal with?
Um, well, that really wouldn't be something I'd be completely at liberty to divulge, but generally speaking, I've dealt with my fair share of wraiths and ghosts and apparitions of that sort, making sure that they don't animate something, usually a corpse, and make their way back. We try to prevent that sort of thing. What's dead usually needs to stay dead.
I see. As Damien is nodding, he's trying to surreptitiously make some notes in his notebook and failing.
He's pretty new at all of this.
I've only really been awakened for roughly a year now.
Nice, nice. I've been around the bush for a few years, more than that. But
As
I've
Brit,
lived more of my life asleep than I have awake.
Well, to be fair, most mages I meet tend to have more experience than I have, so I like to hang back. But let me just say thank you for divulging the information that you have. I hope you find Dublin a pleasant enough place. As a fair warning, things get pretty hairy quite often around here.
I have no doubt. Some of the info coming along the grapevine on my way in here, talking about the end of the world, was dark and
Yes.
foreboding enough to.
The formerly impending apocalypse.
For a town that has averted disaster for the entirety of, the world, I expect a little bit more fanfare. It's been kind of, I'm not going to say dull, because it's definitely not been that, but subdued, maybe?
It seems the
We're also
moment
mourning
we've
losses.
Yeah, and it seems the moment we have dealt with one big bad, other medium-sized bads show up and cause trouble for us. I myself had actually planned to make a little celebration for the successful aversion of the end of the world, but alas, other matters are pressing us again.
Fair enough. Well, and she'll look back at Cassidy. To our fallen comrades in arms, friends, family, and those we had yet to meet. She'll offer up her glass towards Cassidy.
She'll lift her glass. It becomes clear that that's not alcohol, that's water.
It becomes clear what?
It becomes clear that that's not alcohol, that's water.
Hannah looks it over and kind of shrugs her shoulders at it. But doesn't make commentary on it. She just kind of gives Cassidy kind of like a knowing nod before tossing hers back and asking for another. So, in my time, I haven't gotten to get to know too many verbena.
That seems odd, because we do tend to work with the Chakravanti quite a bit. As our goals tend to be similar. Preservation of the
Yeah, they're
wheel.
not too dissimilar. That's true. That is definitely true.
Damien stops taking
I've heard.
notes.
I've always wondered exactly who follows the line a bit more, who follows a little bit less, who likes to bend the rules, who likes to break the rules. too many Chakravanti that are fast and loose with the tenets of our order.
Well, given who apprentice I am, I try not to play fast and loose with the rules.
I prefer working with the system than trying to break it.
That's a good start for any mage, honestly. Too many people, once they get their hands on power, they tend to use it in. I wouldn't say. You know what? I will say. Sometimes a lot of people, when they first start out, use their magic in really irresponsible ways.
Yeah.
And
Recently, please continue.
and usually, once a person gets their hand on the ability to hold life or death in their hands, that's a real defining moment for most.
It leaves a memory, that's for sure.
It does leave quite an impression.
Yeah, and it depends very much how people interpret one's actions, as I had to learn.
Well, I'd say that there are certain things that are not much into that are not up for interpretation. I hear that this town has a population of undead abominations who drain the force of life of those that are not defined.
Kindred.
You mean
Yes.
vampires?
Well, vampires, and they call themselves kindred. Yes.
Mm, well, they can call themselves whatever they like, but ugh.
One of them was the one heading this apocalyptic plot to end the world.
One
Oh,
Lord
that sounds about right.
Aishar. Yeah. Yeah. On the other hand, I was very happy that the Guru showed up and helped. They were a boon in the battle.
I decided to stay outside the bubble. I probably should have been there in case I was needed, but
It's fine. Probably was the smarter choice, but oh well. Oh well. There are moments you have to be willing to gamble everything. Ooh, I'll be honest, I didn't expect that I would get out of there alive, but I have, and I'm very grateful to whatever the higher power had a hand in that.
I mean, I suppose we have many to thank.
Yes, alas, I don't know how to contact Grandfather Thunder, as they called that spirit. Was he gave us quite the boost. It was very impressive. Frankly, it felt as either there was fire or even a bit of electricity in my blood. Very invigorating.
I would guess it's some kind of umbral spirit.
Well, I didn't really get a chance to ask, which is understandable. But could be. So far, I'm only able to see spirits. Communication, that's a different story. But
I
all
could help
good
you.
things in that would be welcome.
What sort of things are you looking to speak to spirits for? Exactly.
To be fair, something I would be interested would be communing with nature spirits. Uh, Curious if there might be a way that I might be able to get the favor of one. Maybe do something useful or helpful for it. You know, giving the wild a little bit of a boost. I try to focus on three aspects and not just one. Not meant as a slant to anyone, of course.
Well, I think those kind of spirits are more in the realm of our billowy sleeved friend here. She'll gesture at Cassidy.
They are quite directly related to my purview, yes. Oh, goodness. Angry baby.
Oh well, to be fair, and Damien gives like a look around of the general area. It would seem that Weaver is doing more than well for himself, so I don't see any reason why I should be overly aiding there. If anything, there seems to be a little bit too much of it.
Sorry, I'm a very unhappy baby. I mean, you guys can talk while I'm trying to deal with baby.
I was trying to deal with family. Well, if you have any interest in learning your fate or speaking with the spirits of the deceased, that's usually where I come in. Sort of looking over at Damien when she says that.
Yeah. Yeah, talking
know what?
about. Sorry.
You know what, kid? She'll she'll reach into her pocket and she'll pull out a looks to be like a long like leather sleeve, and she'll open it up and pull out what looks to be like a deck of cards, and she'll begin to shuffle them.
Damien takes a closer look at the cards. Do they look like tarot cards?
They do.
Interesting. Tarot cards.
Something I don't get to do honestly enough, and uh, believe me, my avatar gives me flack for it, and she'll continue on shuffling. You ever had anyone read your fate?
I can't say I've had.
I see. And she'll continue to shuffle. And what do you think you would like to learn about your fate, if anything?
That is a good question. I'm even contemplating if I should be so bold and ask that from fate.
I mean, for all you know, I'm just one of those late night TV psychics who just has a deck of cards in front of her.
Then you wouldn't be in the Green Dragon. Sleepers normally ignore this place.
They do.
But I'll
But just
humor you.
because I'm Marty doesn't necessarily mean that I'm tapped into a higher understanding. But if you're feeling froggy, and she'll finish shuffling about for the ninth time, and then she'll uh, set out the deck in front of him to let him choose. It's
So, I would say I would probably like to find out what will be my greatest hurdle, my greatest challenge, the greatest stone in my path.
Can you repeat that again, Jason? You broke up for me.
Sorry. He'll say that he would like to see if the cards will divulge what will be his greatest problem to overcome or challenge.
Alrighty. So as she pulls out 6 cards for you, the first one she sets down in front of him is the devil. So I'm not really sure exactly what this holds in store for you, my friend, but uh, perhaps you're feeling a certain bit of temptation, or you have temptation set before you, one that might be too hard to resist.
Okay.
Or perhaps you have more of a issue of low self-esteem. I would say do not let
Guilty as charged.
would say that for the first part of that, question your motives.
Understood.
Generally speaking, when temptation is offered to you, it is uh, not good news. And if you can, try and look on the more positive side of things. I don't know you from Glenn, but perhaps try and stay away from the unbridled nihilism. Yeah.
I used to be more a Neoplatonist myself, but to be a Stoic, one must know what one can't change and influence, and that's something that is causing me trouble. I don't know my boundaries, so to speak.
The next card she sets down in front of him. Strength. I would think that what you might want most at this time, you might actually have the strength and willpower to see you through and achieve that goal. But beware, don't let it come from a place of aggression. Have it come from a place of pure intent.
I shall keep that in mind.
Third card that is placed down is the Hermit. You seem isolated, or at least you worry about it.
Accurate, I must confess.
I would say this is a definite signal not to make hasty decisions. Try not to let your stress overwhelm you. And if you are feeling particularly overtaxed, take time for a bit of R&R, you know?
Yeah, Damien sort of laughs a bit abashedly. Well, soon enough the inflatable hot tub should arrive. After all that stress, I thought I might treat myself.
She pulls the fourth card and sets it down in front of you. Ah, the Emperor. Somewhere inside there, you are self-assured. I'm almost certain of that. And you're capable of influencing things to achieve what you want.
Well, yes, I have a certain amount of agency. Self-assuredness.
Is there anyone, particularly a male figure in your life that you look up to?
My father. I have
I
great
think that
respect for
support
the
and guidance
man.
from him right now is probably in your best interest.
I sounds good. I'll have to figure out how I word it, of course, but sounds like good advice. I'll follow that up.
She pulls out the fifth card and sets it down. And the Lovers, not necessarily what you might think at first glance. You're going to have a difficult decision to make. You're going to have the courage and will to achieve your emotional happiness. And then the last card, she sets that one down, face down in front of him. Now this one. You sure you want to see it? It could be good or it could be very bad.
I already know that not all of wisdom brings joy, but to be forewarned is to be forearmed. Please show it.
She'll take the card and flip it over, and on it you see a skeletal figure with a scythe hooded in black. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean anything at face value.
Sometimes the
It's
death
more of
card
a
means a massive change.
but I see for you whatever this change is going to be, it's going to be turbulent and distressing.
Change
And it may
seldom is pleasant. Well, let's just say I have a bit of
this
affinity
one
for
might shear
entropy.
away this may shear away things in your life though that you held dear. Things
Of
that you may
course it
miss.
will.
But it does leave you room for new beginnings. Think of this more
Sometime.
as a fresh start.
Like the man who cuts off the old and decrepit branches so that new may spring, maybe even bearing some fruit. Change is necessary. Without change, we end in stagnation, and stagnation is foul. To me, at least.
She'll nod at you. She'll smile and she'll withdraw the cards back together and begin to shuffle them again. And she turns her fate touched gaze over to Cassidy. What about you? Are you tempted
You know
to know
what?
what fate may have?
I haven't done a reading. Haven't had a reading from someone else in quite a while. I generally do my own. Someone else doing it might be nice.
She will nod. Well then, she'll continue to shuffle. And shuffle again. What's your favorite number between 1 and 10?
6.
I didn't catch that. What?
6.
6. She will continue on shuffling 4 more times to get to a grand total of 6. And she will begin to draw out cards for Cassidy. Never breaking eye contact, maintaining it. She sets down 5 cards and then asks Cassidy to pick the last.
Cassidy will reach out and she'll let herself be drawn to the last card rather than simply picking one. As she's done this before. She knows what she's doing.
So she pulls out the cards that are picked and then lays down the first card. Judgment. Maybe an end to an era, or at least a phase of your life. Are you currently taking stock of where you want to go from here?
I am, in a way, yes.
Well, this ending is not one for regret, more to rejoice. You should start to enjoy the fruits of your labor here soon, I would think. I think you'll be faced with an opportunity, maybe many, to make a choice that will have far reaching consequences and could change your life fairly dramatically. She then draws out the second card, the Chariot. Whatever you want most at this time is. I think you want to succeed, don't you?
In a way, succeed in protecting the people I care about, which I've not been doing a great job of lately.
Don't put yourself down. I think you've been doing pretty well.
I'm not sure if you're very assertive or you've been successful already, but I think that whatever success you are looking for, you will have. I would expect a journey relating to whatever it is that you do that you consider a labor. But you're actually going to have the gumption to go and get it. She then draws out the third card and sets it in front of Cassidy. The Magician. Is if there is a new figure in your life, masculine, are you wondering if they can be trusted or not?
Hmm. Yes, actually.
I would say take care in whom you place your trust in, specifically in regards to that.
Hmm.
Takes out the fourth card and sets it down. The Hanged Man. Is it possible that you're stuck in sort of a loop of indecision? You feel like the world you're and the way you're relating to it is fairly passive at this time.
Hmm. Somewhat accurate. It's okay, buddy.
Wait, it's going to require a bit of self-sacrifice, but you will be stronger for it. And she will draw out the 5th card. And she sets it down, and you've got something worth. Things are not
I missed a
going your
whole
way,
lot of that.
or they won't go your way. Even if you are in the right or a victim of foul play, I don't think you're going to win this one. Take care of whose advice you take, and be extremely mindful of being motivated solely by self-interest.
Which is funny because that could
Then
not be
she
more
takes out.
opposite of Cassidy.
Pardon?
That could not be more opposite of Cassidy. She is probably the least self-motivated person ever. She's motivated by her care for others.
She takes out the 6th card and sets it down face down in front of Cassidy. Just like with him, do you wish to know what the final card has in store for you?
Yes, go ahead.
She flips it over. The Tower. I think it's time for you to reevaluate. If you've dealt with some sort of disappointment as of late, even if it's been hard, change that is coming in your way is going to open up new possibilities you've never dreamed of. That, or I don't know, are you in the housing market? Maybe you got some property.
Oh, that's funny. I am hardly in the housing market. I'm living with someone else, so. Is it upright or reversed, by the way?
Well, pardon?
The card, is it upright or reversed? Because that makes a big difference in what it means.
It is upright.
Sudden change, upheaval, chaos, revelation, or awakening.
She'll take the card, put them back into the deck, shuffle them, and then place them back into the sleeve. Oh, that felt good. Takes me back to a time when life was a little bit more simple.
Oh, sing me a song about it. Sorry, that came over more sarcastically than I intended. Sorry.
No, you're all right.
But I want to thank you. And he rummages around in his leather satchel, and he produces a piece of raw Baltic amber and stretches it out towards you. Here, As a little thank you.
She'll reach out and take it, sort of hold it up to the light to see if it's translucent or opaque.
There are a few edges that have been already polished. So in those edges, you'll see that it is very nice, translucent, and seems to have... oh, you're lucky. In this one, there seems to be a bug enclosed in it.
Oh, well. I'll be able to open up my own ill-fated park full of extinct animals.
I think the DNA in there will probably be too degraded for you to get anything out. Unless, of course, you can mess with time, and
Yeah,
let's better not go there.
Yeah, it was more of a joke. I appreciate it, though.
Sorry, English is my second language. How should I say, the finer points of the language sometimes just any signs the hand passing over his head.
I still haven't learned. From my hometown, I still haven't yet to learn Hebrew or Spanish. So don't beat yourself up over not completely mastering a second language. But all the same, she pulls out a card from her bag, and she offers it over to Damien. It just has a website on it.
Yep.
A bit of a help guru, and this is my vlog.
I see.
And the promo code on the back, and you get a free for up to a month.
Fair enough. Fair enough. He puts it away and he produces a calling card of his own. Damian Vov, archaeologist, and a cell phone number.
Wow. She put a what looks like a white paint pen and right on her card, her mobile, and that's if you ever need someone with my set of skills or someone who can truly be the life of a party, let me know.
Sure thing. And if you need somebody to make a bit of atmosphere, get the people riled up, I'll just see that I get halfway shit-faced and I should be able to help. He laughs. Mind you, of course, if you need... Yeah. However, should you need somebody who is good with cultural heritage management or has a Bachelor of Science in archaeology, just let me know. I'm also pretty handy with experimental archaeology. And I can cast things in bronze. I've recently set up a small forge. I don't want to boast too much, but I'm pretty decent.
Well, if nothing else, you have a unique set of skills, and well, given the craziness that you've insinuated that this place takes on from time to time,
oh, absolutely.
Somebody who's in ancient history is certainly a plus in my book.
On the note of craziness, cracks Nicole. Oh, yep, there we go. I can now deliver craziness. I take it. Where are you guys?
Green Dragon.
Okay. You see. My apologies. Does anyone hear of correspondence? At least one.
Nope.
In that case, you don't see anything. Actually, does anyone have Prime?
That I do have.
Yep.
Okay. There is a sudden massive wave of Prime energy as the protective enchantments surrounding this place shatter. Literally, it's like seeing glass being just chucked. But it's like seeing a cannonball being shot through glass.
Oh, fuck a duck. First night, this sort of shit goes on?
Reflexively, Damien grabs his men's coat and holds it over his head and basically tries to do the same for Cassidy because he doesn't know if it'll materialize or not. Damn! Something broke the barrier.
It doesn't. You see this entity simply walking down the garden path into the. He's walking down the garden path towards you because bear in mind how the Green Dragon is set up. It is essentially an outdoor bar, so the garden path leads to the main entrance. The one addendum I will make to the picture that I'm showing you is that carved into his belt, very very obviously. You guys will see this symbol.
Shit.
It's the Spider Circus. Run!
As you say run, this entity blitzes. Literally, you see him, he moves forward as if he's going to start to run. Then his figure elongates until he is simply standing in front of you. Then he snaps back together. Now. I've just come to deliver a message. We can still be polite and civil, can't we?
Sure.
You have something that belongs to us. We'd like him back.
He doesn't belong to anyone.
Funny thing about when you're broken, dear, the broken things tend to like to coalesce together. So I tell you what, we'll give you. He looks at his watch, or actually he looks at a small. He takes a pocket watch from inside his robe, and he looks at it. For some reason, he seems fixated on the pocket watch, and you actually see he loses himself as he looks at it. He catches himself about 10 seconds later, and he shakes his head. We'll give you until Saturday next week to return our friend to us. Otherwise, it will be most unpleasant. Now then, if you'll excuse me, I have other business to attend to, and I'm already running behind schedule. Clicks the pocket watch closed. So, our friend returned by Saturday week, or we will have unpleasantness.
But you will give our friend back in exchange.
Your friend's quite happy where she is.
What did you do to her?
Nothing. She merely followed a childhood dream.
Bullshit.
Ran away and joined the circus, she did.
Bollocks.
I'll tell you what, Sonny Jim. As I said, if I didn't have other prior engagements, you give us what we want, everything will be sanguine or savvy. That's the deal. In the meantime, I'll say good evening. These appointments, unfortunately, won't keep themselves. He nods his head before he just starts to walk away.
Damien slowly nods back, but keeping his eyes on the figure.
Question before you head out there. This person who followed a childhood dream. Wouldn't happen to have anything to do with their own hubris, would it?
He turns and he stops, and his head turns, and he says, "People always tend to find their way into places that they shouldn't, following things that they don't understand. It's the way of humanity. But my engagements, I will unfortunately have to depart. Good evening, all." And you just see him. Interestingly enough, as he leaves, you see the protective enchantments mend themselves. Literally, it's like they're levitated up, the tiny shards of prime energy, and are put back together.
Does Cassidy have D'Onofrio's number?
You do not. You never
Damn
asked
it.
for it.
Because this is her bar. You figure, it gets fucked up. She's gonna know about it.
But with that, he will leave. You can almost say he was late for a very important date.
It's the fucking White Rabbit.
I had to find a picture that had the right kind of ears, so I found the horns, and I was like, "Yeah, this will do."
Hannah will sit there continuously sipping out of the little stir straw in her gin tonic.
Shit.
And, yeah. So that's the craziness that you all were mentioning before, eh?
Yes.
Yes. We had a run-in with a certain piper yesterday.
And from the sounds of it, Curiosity might have claimed to get another cat.
It wasn't Curiosity.
We were trying to save lives.
Well, how do you friends get all mixed up in it?
And somehow we've gotten all
Stated
tied
she-
up with this circus business.
That and egregores of stories just seem to be popping up, missing their names, being horribly skewered. Yeah. It's as if
Interesting.
it's as if the land of fairy tales is having some horrible thing happening to it.
Their stories are being erased.
I wasn't the only one that got a White Rabbit vibe off that guy with his timepiece, yeah?
As you
Nay,
attempt to say "White Rabbit vibe" as it pertains to that gentleman, you will stop and be unable to say the words "White Rabbit." It's as if you mentally know that you know the words, but your lips won't say them. So it's like, am I the only who got a mental?
Mother.
You'll skip over saying it, and then you'll complete your sentence, but you'll realize that you skipped over it.
She'll shake her head a few times and then say, "Mother of pearl hair?"
That's fine. You can say that.
Oh,
So the mother of pearl hair. Right.
Okay, the thing that with this is you can't say the names of the characters of the stories. Their names are gone. It's
For
happened to a
example,
couple
That's
of
something
them.
I should probably bring to the attention a little bit further up the ladder in my neck of the woods, so to speak.
yeah, for example, the author of 999 plus 2 stories from a certain peninsula east from us. I'm not able to say her name, although I know it. As much as I try to force myself, it doesn't want to get out.
Hmm.
Same thing goes with what that person alluded to, a certain flutist from a certain small village in Germany about 1500s who supposedly abducted a big amount of children while their parents were at church mass and disappeared to be never seen again. Very famous children's tale. But I can't say his name either. I even tried it in German. Not
Even though he's
working
living
there
with
either.
you.
I felt sorry for him, quite honestly.
You really gotta stop taking in strays, you know.
Hmm. She'll pull out another cigarette and light it. She'll lay a few bills on the bar top, and then slide off the bar stool. Walk back over to the booth with the boisterous individuals, and then put on the black sport coat. Well, as lovely as this has been, I need to go talk to somebody about fairy tales running AWOL and the
Amok.
inability to talk about them along with a few other things. So, she'll pull out another card and hand it to Cassidy.
Cassidy had actually taken the time to write out her phone number on a piece of paper and hands it to her. I'm not one for business cards.
Well, unfortunately, that's all I got, but either way, keep in touch, you two. I'm gonna go talk to some of the higher ups in my neck of the woods and see if they've got any guidance on this or directives that they would like someone to undertake.
Yes, I have to speak with someone as well.
She'll go ahead and light the cigarette, take a long drag off of it before exhaling. Well,
Could I have one
good luck,
from you?
and you can
And
stay safe, alright? And she will exit stage left because I gotta jump. So, thank you for
Fair
seeing,
enough.
guys.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Well, I guess I'm gonna go talk to the keeper. See if he has any idea what's going on.
Well, latest come Saturday, there'll be a decision that has to happen.
Well, if they don't intend on giving Georgie back, we're not going to just hand him over.
Yeah, he must be important enough for them that we might be able to use him as a bargaining chip, as much as I hate the idea of doing that with sentient beings.
No, I don't really intend on giving him back either way.
Yeah. And yeah, he's more than just a stray. As far as I see it, he's as much a victim.
Do you think Rumple would know anything?
Well, I still owe him 3 minor favors, so. And he is at least willing to talk to me. He is an egregore of a story as well, so. Actually, come to think of it, he might.
If we can't get a hold of Wilhelm Grimm, we'll
With,
go to the
yeah,
next best thing. Someone else from a story.
yeah, and someone who also had to do with Wilhelm, so There is a connection, if tenuous.
And that's what we do next.
Yeah.
From what I hear, he runs a pawn shop.
Yes, I've already been there. Although be careful to not to go during the night. Kindred frequent it as well.
Fun.
I let's just say I had to extricate myself from some kindred going in other kindred territory and making them mad and using mind powers on each other, and I swear one of them forced another of their kind to drink their blood. What the hell that signifies, I don't know, and I don't want to know. I got away without any loss of blood or extra gain of blood, I'm happy to say.
Well, I guess we will set up a time to go to this pawn shop, you and I.
Yes, Mom, he says in a resignated voice.
What? I'm not going by myself. I don't even know where it's at.
No. Perfectly understandable. I wouldn't want anything to happen to you. And he looks away.
She gives him a bit of a curious look at that.
Is he blushing? Hard to say from that angle.
Shakes her head a little bit and picks up one of her fries. And I suppose that's a good place to end our scene. Evan, you want to do the outro, or would you like me to?
Thank you, Players Playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been another scene in Darkness of Dublin. Have a pleasant evening.